severe weather front and center tonight in the mid-Atlantic states, and we've got a low coming out of the Caribbean that's going to bring some very heavy rains to South Florida. Could wind up being the season's first tropical storm before it's said and done. All, all that and more, well, more than you think, on tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show. I won't ask what that was.
Well, not that I'm forced to change channel, so
Yeah, we have a minimal signal. I don't know now it's back. All right, I apologize, folks. We got thunderstorms around up here, and whenever that happens, it's always problematic. So we'll just hopefully hang on, and things will behave themselves and settle down tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show. Every day we're one day closer to getting the broadband. All I'm waiting for is that magical phone call, Joe, to say time for the home installation. When can we do it? And I will say, how about today? And they'll laugh. And well, anyway, uh, so busy, sort of a busy night tonight. Busy night last night with it's funny sometimes you get these backdoor cold fronts. You get the marine layer on one side, you get the warm layer on the warm sector on the other side, and the zone in the middle on either side wound up getting some interesting. They weren't severe thunderstorms, but they were loud in some places, and they produced heavy rains in some places too. Today's more to the south, although there are some even on the northern side. But once those are done, I think we're going to go move on to a nice weekend in the Northeast and in the northern Mid-Atlantic states.
I had between 3:30 and 4 o'clock today, here at my home base of Putnam Valley, Putnam County, New York, 1.02 inches of rainfall. However, between 3:30 and 3:44, 0.77 inches fell, which means that if you go by that rate, during that 14-minute time frame, the rain was coming down at the rate of 3.3 inches per hour.
Wow.
And I can tell you, Joe, that there's a little thing on my weather center, this David Weather Center console. And when it's raining very hard, it says it's raining cats and dogs. And I looked out the window and I saw the message and I said, yeah, it's raining big tabbies and German shepherds.
Hmm.
Those are the two types of cats and dogs that were falling during that 14-minute period. It was coming down to beat the band. Not surprisingly, very shortly thereafter, the National Weather Service in Upton issued a flash flood warning for much of northern Westchester, Putnam County, because of the heavy duty rains that fell during that relatively short time span.
Well, and here, I mean, I had lightning, and I didn't have lightning. I'm sorry, I had thunder and a heavy downpour. It was barely enough to wet the ground. Then we had a second one that came through, and that's been it. But they had warnings up around me during the late afternoon and evening. But at least for me, it didn't amount to too much. But if the surrounding area is getting it, I'm going to be impacted one way or the other. We also have this low in the northeastern Caribbean that is going to try, in spite of the fact that conditions are somewhat hostile in the upper atmosphere, to strengthen eventually into a tropical depression or a tropical storm. Either way, I don't think it makes a big difference because that's more of a wind issue than anything else. And in this case, it's really going to be about heavy rains for South Florida. So WPC's got a patch of 10 inches or more for southern Florida before this is all said and done. And then it should move out. Uh, Even though I know a few people were asking me about the NAM this afternoon because it kind of straddled it up the Florida coast and points northward. I didn't see the latest one, but it seems a little bit of a stretch because of just how broad the west to east flow is across the United States. It's hard to imagine how you would see a system in that position climb up the coast when you don't have a good solid, really solid digging trough to the west, creating a south-southwest flow. I'm not seeing it.
It's funny. I think they may have a new nomenclature at the National Hurricane Center because I think in past years, normally for something like this, developing now pretty much along or straddling the Yucatan Peninsula. They would have called it Invest 95L or something. They've done away with that. Now they simply are saying potential tropical cyclone. I know they're giving a 90%
No,
probability of it lighting up into a tropical storm between now. Actually, they have it as a depression tomorrow morning,
right.
and then a tropical storm during the day tomorrow.
Well, no,
So
no, they had it was 91L. It was 91L, and then when they make it a potential tropical cyclone, then they start issuing statements like the sort of advisory type statements that they put out for those. So usually when they put out the potential tropical cyclone statement, that's usually a pretty solid chance that it's going to become a tropical storm. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's go front and center though, and go right to the radar because we do have a number of severe thunderstorm warnings that are in play at the moment. Down in Maryland and southern Delaware and the lower part of the Delmarva Peninsula, that's where the risk area was basically from uh, Route 78 south, and the severe thunderstorm watch was basically from Route 195 south, and it's kind of playing out according to plan. There's some strong storms in southern New Jersey, moving east and continuing to slide east southeastward, and then you've got a bigger cluster of showers and thunderstorms from Delaware on down into eastern Virginia. A number of special marine warnings. I didn't see any tornado warnings as I looked sporadically throughout the day, throughout the evening hours. And then there's some more showers out to the west in Pennsylvania and down into western Virginia. Western Virginia, those are moving east, they're coming out of West Virginia and further south into Kentucky and Tennessee. And as we look on the radar even further south, I'm in northeast Georgia, and you can see I'm surrounded by cells to my south, south of I-85, and to my west. In fact, looks like I might be going to be getting clipped by one in short order, and those are moving to the northeast. In Florida at the moment, you can see south of the Keys the beginnings of the rain from the tropical system that is moving slowly northward, not quite to the Keys yet, but it's come into range of the radar. There's some other cells that have developed in central Florida, north of Lake Okeechobee and south of Orlando and back west to Tampa. You can see some big cells there. I think that's I-4 that goes from Tampa on east. I'm not 100%, but you get the idea here in terms of what's on the radar. And otherwise, we've got some scattered stuff throughout the Gulf states. In the west, looking at some scattered precip up and down the Rockies and some heavier precip on up into the Pacific Northwest. The Storm Prediction Center for today has the slight risk lined up very well in their forecast. You see it here with a severe thunderstorm watch that's now basically been split in two. The southern half, the southern part, is in effect from Western Virginia to Western North Carolina, and then there's a gap, and then you've got the eastern part from southern New Jersey down into the Delmarva Peninsula and eastern Virginia, and pretty soon that'll get whittled away, and then we should be done with thunderstorms as far as the next few days are concerned. As we've got this nice dry air coming in, risk areas tomorrow along the Carolina coast down to South Georgia and the Gulf Coast, and also from West Texas and New Mexico up through eastern Colorado and then northwestward through the Rockies. And on day three, which is Saturday into Sunday, looking at nothing in most of the Northeast, except for northwestern Maine and northern Vermont and New Hampshire. Nothing in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic states. You have to go down to the southeast for some general thunderstorm activity. A marginal risk on the scene in southernmost Florida and over the Keys from the tropical system, and a marginal risk also in the southern and central plains from north central Texas northwestward up into Nebraska. And on days 4 through 8, take a look at that. We've got predictability too low on day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8. So there'll probably be some severe weather around. Take a look at the rainfall here on the WPC's rainfall map. Uh, there's a patch there, Joe, of 7 to 10 inches in South Florida. and you go up. You go up well into central Florida to the 2 to 3 inch line. So it's a fairly widespread area of heavy rain. And notice, by the way, the track of the area of that rain is laid out in the ocean. The Northeast, because we do have a couple of weather fronts to deal with next week. So we have about a half an inch to an inch and a quarter from northern New Jersey northward, and lesser amounts as you go south. We have 3/4 of an inch to up to 2 inches across much of the Central Plains, and even into parts of the northern plains, and extending back up to the northern Rockies and the Pacific Northwest. So looking forward to a dry weekend. That's the thing. The weather should be Saturday looks to be. I mean, both days should be fine. Saturday may just wind up being a little bit better than Sunday, just a smidge.
Just a smidge. I'm just amazed by looking out west where I was over the past week. California, most of California except for the north, and Nevada, most of it except for the extreme northern areas, Utah, Arizona, all bone dry, continuing to be bone dry. Actually, when I was there about a week ago, there was a storm that was moving into inland from the Pacific coast, and they were talking about the possibility over the Memorial Day holiday weekend of even snow over northern sections of Utah. But whatever that was, it's long gone now, and they're back underneath that dry dome of air that's going to remain, it looks like, for a while. It's just incredible that everywhere else there's moisture of some way, shape, or form, but the Southwest continues to be basically just high and dry as the drought out there continues.
Yes. So we do have, and I'm just pulling it up now, we have potential tropical cyclone 1. An advisory was just issued at 7 p.m. Uh, 21.5. See, I get the static image here up of their forecast here from the Hurricane Center. 21.5, 87.5 is the position. So right off the northeast coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, the top winds at the moment are 35 miles an hour, drifting north at 5, and then you see the gradual turn to the northeast. They actually have it strengthening into a tropical storm before it reaches the coast of Florida on the west side, and then they keep it as a tropical storm all the way through. I still think the circulation's pretty broad. I mean, it's possible that there's going to be some convection east of the center, and they probably will have some winds in there that are going to be near or just over tropical storm force. So technically, it probably meets their criteria for a tropical storm, but it really doesn't tighten up until after it moves off the east coast of Florida and heads on out to the northeast. But again, that's just we're just sort of talking technicals here. The bottom line is this is going to be a big rain event for South Florida, no doubt. And in fact, here's the rainfall potential from WPC, and you can see they've got 6 to 10 inches from north of Miami, well up to the coast, almost to about Fort Pierce, and then extending west on the other side, north of Fort Myers to just south of Port Charlotte, and then further north it cuts off once you get north of get to Tampa and
Orlando.
Orlando. Yeah, it just cuts off sharply from there, which makes sense with the track the way it is and the structure. That most of the rain's going to be coming up on the east side, but this is a fairly substantial rain event for the folks in Florida, and it comes early in the season, as oftentimes we were saying this yesterday. This time of year, you get these tropical systems. They can tend to be big rainmakers, and we've seen many examples of that over the years. Uh, so rather than become full-fledged hurricanes, I don't think this is going to become one before it goes into Florida anyway. But this is definitely going to be a big rainmaker for them.
Yep. And but actually, even though we have still yet to see the first official tropical system of the season, the first name system, which will be Alex, it comes after the 1st of June. And as we said yesterday, also, I think like 8 out of the last 10 years, we've had tropical systems develop in May or even earlier. 1 year in April, 1 year, for goodness sake, in January.
Yeah.
So this is not like many of the other years we've had in the past decade, because this one is, well, a little bit late. Then again, I can remember very well back in, I think it was 1992, that the very first tropical system was Andrew, and that didn't form until the latter days of August. And those days, I guess, are long gone when we have to wait until August for any kind of a tropical system. Yes, there were actually times when we'd go through the first half or much of the first half of the official tropical storm or hurricane season without seeing hardly anything, but that just doesn't seem to happen anymore. Although this year, again, we're having our first system in June compared to the last 8 or 10 out of the last 8 out of the last 10, where it was, again, usually in the month of May.
The satellite loop, which I am loading at the moment, so just give it a second and it'll hopefully start moving. I've got it with the lightning strikes. There's a bit more of a circular signature to it today than there was yesterday. If you remember, yesterday was sort of disjointed. You had some convection west of the center. You had this gap in the middle. Then you had all this convection to the east of the center. It seems to have sort of coalesced around uh, on the eastern side. There's not a whole lot going on to the west, and if you watch the loop, uh, one thing that stands out is that the lower clouds, there's definitely some turning going on. So the lower clouds are turning in a counterclockwise fashion, but at the same time, the upper level winds are sort of blowing the higher cloud tops out to the northeast. So there's some shear going on here, and that is something that was very evident on all the models that there was going to be a lot of shear. Uh, so there's probably some non-tropical things going on with this that are holding it together. And I assume, based on what the models are doing, that those non-tropical features are going to hold some sway here and allow this system to maybe develop more than it otherwise would. Because normally in a high wind shear environment like this thing would probably never really develop and never be able to develop the closed circulation. But again, with other dynamics going on in the atmosphere, the broad low that's formed, it'll be just a matter of it tightening up. Seeing some lightning strikes approaching the south coast of Cuba, and also out in the channel between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula, a couple of lightning strikes there, and along the Yucatan coast. But we don't have any kind of balled up convection at this time. However, it is what it is, and it's loaded with moisture, and it's heading toward the northeast, and that'll be the folks in South Florida will be paying attention to this because, again, the rain is going to be the bigger issue here.
And again, we just want to remind everybody that it's not you. If you're looking at this, it's not in the middle of that broad area of cloud cover where the center of the storm is. The storm actually is located right immediately adjacent to the northeastern part of the Yucatan Peninsula. That's where the center is, and that's where also you're seeing quite a bit of lightning flashing. And eventually, that's all going to get offshore, and conceivably, it will intensify a bit to become a tropical storm, the first one of the season. That one again, its name will be Alex.
Yes, and there's a lot of dry air, by the way. That's the other thing. If you look in the Western Gulf, there's a lot of dry air that is getting entrained on the west side. So it looks more subtropical to me than anything else, but NHC knows better than I do, so we defer to them, and whatever they decide it is what it's going to be. Now, some of the intensity guidance today got a little more bullish with strengthening, particularly after uh, 36 hours. They have it. A few of the models actually have it as reaching tropical storm strength from the standpoint of wind in about 24 hours. But after 36 hours, you start to see some of them take it up higher into the 40 and 50 knot range, which I think is pretty reasonable. But this will come at a time when it's exiting on the east side of Florida. So that's mainly after 60 or 72 hours that you start to see the winds in the 40 to 50 knot range. And except for one or two odd models that strengthen it past one up to 60 knots, and another one, what is that? The NNIC model takes it up to a category 1 at 108 hours. But by then, it's out in the open waters of the Atlantic and moving away to the northeast, and they didn't run a lot of the hurricane models. They ran some of them, but I often say when you see them tightly clustered, it gives you a high degree of confidence that it's going to track like this. And if you take a look at them, you take a look at the spread between the models that they did run. It's not very wide. It's only maybe about 40 or 50 miles from the northernmost to the southernmost. Even out in the Atlantic in the longer range, the spread is fairly tight. It widens out a little bit, but it's still fairly tight. And notice none of them are taking it anywhere close to the southeast coast of the United States. Just kind of moving it away to the northeast. And the reason for that, if we take a look at the upper air, and I'll show you what's happening here. You've got, there are elements here, Joe, that could make this problematic, but the issue is because you do have this trough that's dropping down from the Great Lakes, and the problem is it's too flat. I mean, it's way too flat. Sometimes in a situation like this, if you get a sharp trough, and there's one, and this is not a sharp trough that I just drew in, but there is a trough there from Wisconsin down to Tennessee early Sunday morning, and here's the tropical system there off the Florida East Coast. Now, if this were a sharper trough, then you'd be talking about maybe something trying to come up the coast, but we don't have that. Take a look at the winds from St. Louis to about southern New Jersey and points east. I mean, that's a straight west to east flow, or it's actually more like a west northwest flow of the upper air winds. So this can't go this way. It'll get to a point where these westerlies will catch it, and then it'll start to accelerate out to the northeast. So again, I'm not, I'm discounting. I'm going to take a look at what the NAM did, because the NAM was trying to show on an earlier run that the troughing was going to be sharper, and I can already see on the upper air that it has now vacated that particular position. I'll bring up the hang on, I'm gonna get that NAM up there. That was the GPS again. Let's see, yeah, even the NAM, it just overwhelms the westerlies over the weekend. It tries to leave some troughing there on the 18Z run. There's a low there off the South Carolina coast. There's an upper low there that's inching northward. I just think that's a little. I just believe that that's far fetched. It's doing too much. It's doing too much with the trough that's coming down from the northern plains, and in what is otherwise a fairly flat flow.
Yeah, and I think that the Climate Prediction Center is indicating that for our part of the country, we're actually at normal temperatures. However, you go back to the Great Lakes, and that's where there's sort of a bullseye or a core of cooler or below normal temperature trends. And as far as precipitation, the folks out in the Southwest wish that they would be living, somewhere here in the East, because they've got above normal precipitation locally here in the tri-state area, and even a heavier swath running from about southwestern Pennsylvania down across the lower Ohio Valley, and into Texas, Oklahoma for 6 to 10 days, and um, even continuing that to 8 to 14 days. So it's going to be wet here in the east. Meanwhile, out in the southwestern states, again, above normal temperatures and near to below normal precipitation as the dry weather continues for a little while longer.
All right, here's the NAM tonight. Brings our showers and thunderstorms through. The stuff that's out to the west just dies out. There's actually one little stick of showers early tomorrow morning that makes it to about the coast, and then it's gone. And after that, weather conditions should improve rather nicely. It is dry and nice on Saturday and into Sunday. Now, here's where the NAM loses it, because it's got look at this. It wants to just straddle it right along the Carolinas. It's got rain to southeastern Virginia and loaded with rain in eastern North Carolina. It's the only of It's the only
It's
model
the
that's doing
outlier.
it. It's a complete outlier to everything that's out there. So
Yep.
we're going to discount this and just ignore it and go with the idea that the upper air those upper air westerly winds are going to completely overwhelm this. So here's the GFS, for example, and it makes more sense. It's come into line with what the European has been showing for quite a while, uh, where it just goes east to north, east northeast, and then the system tightens up a bit. Although it still doesn't really quite have that tropical look to it as it goes out. Now, next week we do have a couple of cold fronts to deal with. One's coming probably sometime on Tuesday with some showers and thunderstorms. The GFS likes to bring fronts through in the middle part of the day. My suspicion is this will probably be more like late Tuesday, and maybe there'll be some severe weather risk with this as it goes by. And then there's a bit of a break. Front tries to get hung up a little bit. I know Sal Blandino must have heard that and fainted.
Yeah.
Joe, he's out of control. You got to read the comments that he left on the video from last night. Just complain. You talked about maybe Sunday yesterday. You talked about maybe Sunday some clouds coming in later in the day because there's a bit of a warm front setting up well to our north, and there might be some clouds that'll come in ahead of the system well ahead of the system for Tuesday. He was just going bonkers over that. And I just finally wrote 3 words: deal with it. Just deal with it. It's clouds.
Yes.
God's sake. Another front approaches. This goes through, so Tuesday night. Then it looks like not much happens on this run until, well, next weekend. Where there's some kind of low in Illinois that it wants to drive straight eastward uh, or east northeastward. Let's see. Maybe this has block potential. Let's take a look. Let's look at the upper air. La 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 la. The upper air forecast is brought to you by Kellogg's. Nope. Let's see. So here's your trough coming down on Monday into the Western Lakes. The tropical system's long gone, and we might see there might be a little bit of a severe weather threat, maybe for upstate New York, and northern New England for Tuesday night, Wednesday. Then that swings by. It's got some kind of a secondary a system that's coming into the northwest that drops down at the end of next week and forms a cutoff in Ohio, and then it opens up. I mean, it's not really a blocky low, it looked to me. And then more troughing. Oh, look at this. This is really fun. There's an upper low that's dropping southward from James Bay straight down to Lake Huron, Joe. It's a 534 upper low with the westerlies all the way down to northern Florida. The dark blue sitting over Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, New York State, down into West Virginia. It certainly says that this coolish pattern that is setting up for the first part of June that we talked about yesterday is going to play out pretty well, and we'll probably have to wait for the second half of the month to see if that pattern breaks down like it did in May, and we go into something of a warmer pattern, more progressive pattern, even more progressive than what we have now for the second half of the month. But that's too far down the road. The teleconnections, the PNA actually going positive now by 1 standard deviation, and then it goes negative toward mid-month, and the NAO is negative right now by 1 standard deviation, gets to the neutral line, and then it starts to slope downward again as we go toward the middle part of the month. So these teleconnections are kind of having a tough time with the overall upper air pattern going forward.
Ruthless Goat, I just noticed on the chat board,
Yes, he had a rough go.
getting,
He had a rough go.
yeah, he had super chat. We thank him very much for it.
Thank you, sir.
And
Poor guy
I'm
was at
also
the.
noticing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry,
I'm
Joe.
also. I'm just noticing a few new people I've not seen, like Help Me 100, and I think is an emoji there that looks kind of like the Pillsbury Doughboy, except it's in yellow. I don't really know what exactly that is. I'm just scrutinizing all of these here. Tyler Fengya, wishing us all happy hello, and how are you guys doing? We're doing very well, Tyler, and Chuck Cardillo on, and so is Dennis Cassia, and Joe J Dog is being addressed by Craig Carlberg. So uh, yeah, J Dog. There you go. So we have a few new people up on the chat board tonight, and the Taco Cat says, Joe Rayo, you look like Coach Randy from Brown Stick Bowling. LOL. Please read this so I know that you read it. Okay, I'm reading it, Taco. I have no idea who Randy from Brown Stick Bowling is, but if it pleases you, thanks a lot for the what am I the his doppelganger or whatever. I don't know.
James Harris, by the way, sent a couple of videos that you'll like, Joe, of lower Westchester with that heavy rain and flooding from uh, yesterday and today, and you could see all the cars on one side driving. I wonder what parkway that is. Do you recognize it? He left it. He said it on the message
I,
where it was. I got to go back and read it. Uh, see what his next video is. Nope, that was the old one. So let's do this. And here's the second one.
well,
Ah,
we know that
now was caught in bumper to bumper.
we know that anywhere uh, in Westchester, you have to drive on a parkway, and the parkway inevitably is adjacent to a body of water, and you get a day like today, and you know that it's going to flood. Could be the Bronx River Parkway, it could be the Sawmill Parkway, or maybe the Hutchinson River Parkway.
Well, I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now which one it is. Just give me a moment here.
Could
Back
be the
to
Sprain Brook Parkway.
the Bronx River. The Bronx River Parkway is just it's always been notorious for some really spectacular flooding over the years.
I it, it I've told this story many times. People say, "Boy, you're up in the Hudson Valley, and boy, it must really be tough when we get into the winter time and it gets snow and ice and everything." Yeah, it's not a picnic when we have those kind of days, but what's even worse is during the spring and summer when we have days like today, because you get a big heavy rainfall and just everything floods out. I remember with Tropical Storm Floyd in 1999, you couldn't go anywhere. Every single parkway was like a canal or like a river. I had to wait at News 12. I was on News 12 the night of Floyd. I had to wait until the following afternoon before some of the parkways drained enough so that you can go on the roadways and actually I could go home. But it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. And
Yeah.
J Dog says
He
it's not a
he
parkway; it's a river.
he said um, this was actually today, and this was in Lower Westchester in the Bronx, so it was probably the Bronx River Parkway. He
Yeah.
also said people's basements flooded out in parts of the Bronx, on Bronx in Bronxville, Yonkers, Tuckahoe, Eastchester, and there's so many detours to get home because some roads are still closed, an incredible amount of rain in a short period of time, and in a concentrated area. So there you have it. Evidence of the heavy rains that Mr. Rayo had to suffer through on last night. And a ruthless goat, by the way.
I didn't. I didn't suffer. What am I suffering? I didn't have to go out. That's one of the great things about being retired. I mean, instead of being out on the roadways trying to get to work and that kind of craziness, I just looked at it out the window, and the way I know that it was really bad is when I can hear it on the roof. When it sounds like somebody is pouring, steel nails on the roof. You know, and I go, wow, that sounds like something. You look out the window, it's just booming. It's pouring down. And then you can walk over to the weather station and you can see literally every other second the decimal, counting off, point 0.06, point 0.07, point 0.08, and every now and then flashing, it's raining cats and dogs. No, no spit, Sherlock. It
Yeah,
it was coming down really hard between 3:30 and 4 o'clock this afternoon. So I'm Very happy I did not have to drive or commute in that. I've done more than my fair share, and I'm sure you did too, Joe, commuting or getting to work or having to go to work in those kind of conditions.
Ruthless Goat had now imagine this. So this is what he went through. I got a message from him a little bit before the show. I'm lucky to be alive. I ran into the worst blizzard and rainstorm ever at the top of Eisenhower Tunnel. This is now in Colorado. Several inches of snow, zero visibility. I've driven over 55 years, and those were the worst driving conditions I've ever been in. I'm not planning to be on the top of a 12,000-foot mountain after dark, but a 3-hour detour routed me back to Grand Junction. The temperature dropped to 32 degrees, and heavy snow was falling, even getting down to Denver. It was blinding rain with visibility near zero through multiple construction zones. It was a nightmare. That's what he went through. So
Wow.
they're still dealing with the white stuff in some places.
Now the comedy team of Bob and Ray, I remember they once did a sketch where Ray, who uh, did he always did the women's voice or women's voices. Uh, he was doing the voice of a woman who came from Bondurant, Wyoming, and Bob, who was interviewing her, said, "Oh, beautiful country out there." And he says, "Well, we have winter right into August, so you know."
Yeah,
That's that sounds like something that sounds like a place that you're just mentioning that they would have that kind of condition even on into the middle of summertime. It is beautiful country, but when you get a bit high in altitude, you could still get the white stuff, and that's indeed happening in parts of Colorado right now. And as I said last week when I was in Utah, the weather forecaster there was doing and the guy does the weather. The one thing I noticed in out there, Joe, is they do the weather for the entire state. If you're anywhere in Utah and the television station is in Salt Lake City, they don't do it for just Salt Lake City. They do it for every place.
yeah,
It's kind of amazing. So they have not one but maybe several 7-day outlooks. They show you what it was going to be like in Salt Lake City, what it's going to be like on the high range, what it's going to be like in the desert. Sort of, it's crazy.
yeah,
And last weekend, the gentleman who was doing the weather on Channel 2 was a CBS station, got the call letters K something or other, KUX or something. His name is Sterling Paulson. And the only time I was thinking about Pat Paulson. Remember him, the comedian from
yeah. It's
the
forever,
1960s?
forever running for
And
president.
he looked just almost like me. I mean, he had white hair and he was bespectacled and just doing a forecast for the entire state. And I said to Renata, I said, "Can you imagine if a forecaster out of New York was doing the weather for the entire state of New York instead of just doing New York City? If you had to do not only New York City, but also, and here's now what it looks like in the Adirondacks. And in Western New York, they have snow squalls and heavy snow and 2 feet of snow. It's crazy, but that's how it is out in the Western states. In the Western states, you have the one big city or the one big town, in this case, Salt Lake City, and maybe it's the same when you go to Colorado and Denver, and they do the whole state. I think it also is the same in Arizona. It's crazy, but not here, of course, here in the Northeast.
All right, let's run through some Briller Jeopardy here and wrap up the show for tonight. And then we could be on. I got a surgery tomorrow morning at 8:30, so I want to get some sleep tonight, or they put me to sleep.
Yeah. And I do believe, yes, I forgot. It's your turn for Briller Jeopardy, and I'm going to be getting the questions in just a very short moment here. Trying to open a number of different windows up. Now let's see if I'm actually going to get to what I want to get to. Yes, I think I will. Mr. Briller, where are you, Mr. Briller? There you are, and here we go. So we have on Briller Jeopardy tonight, Briller Jeopardy Part 2 of famous movie quotes for Mr. Chaffee, covering the years between 1930 and 1968. So I will give you the quote. You give me the name of the movie, Joe.
Okay.
And quote number
19.
Quote
What was the range of the years? 19 what?
1930 to 1968.
Okay.
So the first quote is, like a queen, like a goddess.
Like a queen, like a goddess. Oh my God, I have no clue. I have no clue. None.
No clue whatsoever.
That's it. No
How about if I give
clue.
you
No clue. The 1967 production by. Uh, no, I have no
how,
idea. Like.
how about if I give you a hint?
Okay.
It's a famous cream cheese comes from this city, or is named after this
Oh,
city.
from Philadelphia.
Yes.
Movie was in
What
Philadelphia.
what would
Oh,
be the movie?
oh. The Philadelphia Story.
That's right,
Okay.
1940.
Katharine Hepburn, Jimmy Stewart, um, Ruth Hussey, and a number of wonderful character actors and actresses that I've seen over the years in many different films.
By the way, last week Renata was playing Wordle in our hotel room, and she got the word in three. And then I was talking to my sister back in New York, who was about to begin Wordle, and I said, if you get this word, it'll be your crowning glory. And she got it. She got it in one. She was declared a genius by the people at Wordle. And she got the hint very quickly. The 5 letter word was tiara.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. I got it on the. I got that one on the third. I think I got that one on the third try.
yeah, we got on the third try too. How about this one? This is easy. Even I'm not a big movie buff, but I would be able to tell you what this is. Now, question two: plastics.
Oh, that was Dustin Hoffman and oh my God, I can't believe Anne Bancroft.
Right.
And I'm drawing a blank on the. I can't believe I'm drawing hey, Mrs. Robinson. The Graduate. The
1967.
Graduate.
The Graduate.
Yeah.
That's right. Number three. You blew it up. Ah, damn you.
Blew it up.
You
Damn you.
blew it up. Damn you.
Uh, it sounds like that might be a line from your favorite.
Oh, failsafe? No,
Yeah, it's not.
that's not from failsafe.
You blew it up. Damn you. Up. Oh. No, I'm clueless.
How about if I just simply say Statue of Liberty?
Oh, you mean Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes.
Right, 1968. All right. Now don't take this the wrong way, Joe, but it is number question number four. Hello, gorgeous.
Hello, gorgeous. Uh, hello, gorgeous. That line's been used in a few movies, and I can think of certain ways that it's been said, but I can't put again, no, clueless.
Okay, from 1968, Funny Girl.
Oh, I never would have known it. I never would have gotten it.
You know, my sister, when she was very young, she saw maybe not Funny Girl, but she saw Barbara Streisand, and she made a comment to my mom about the nose, and she asked my mother, said, "Why did she get her nose fixed?" And my mother said, "It's probably because if she did get it fixed, it would change the way her singing would be. It would change perhaps because of the nasal quality and the whole bit. She sings very, very well. Perhaps if she had a nose operation, she, you know,
Yeah,
it would put her singing."
could screw that up.
And my sister said, upon hearing that, she looked at Barbara Streisand again. She said, "I think she still should take a shot at it."
Odd. Leon Probitsky hitting super chat tonight with the big chicken doing a dance there. Thanks, Leon.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you, Leon.
what's the next one?
Uh, Number five, Sir, would you dance with me tonight?
Sir, dance with me tonight. Why am I thinking of Some Like It Hot?
I'll give you a hint. The one of the star of this particular movie passed away in the last within the last year,
Oh,
and he was an Oscar winner, but not for this particular film.
I have no. Yeah, I don't know.
To Sir with
With
Love,
love,
1967.
uh, Sidney Poitier.
Okay, all right. Number six. Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
A great line. Again, Clueless.
Well, you mentioned my favorite movie, or alluded to it, Failsafe.
Is that from?
This is the movie that came. This is the movie that came immediately before Failsafe.
Yeah, I.
It starred Slim Pickens among in the cast.
That the one where the guy is riding the rocket at the end of it.
Right,
Doctor Strangelove.
Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah,
And it's so ironic. You usually you have a very serious film like Failsafe that comes out, and then you have the satire.
right.
And in 1964, it was Doctor Strangelove, the satire, that came out first, followed by the serious film Failsafe. And they said that Failsafe suffered a lot because it came after Doctor Strangelove. That had it come before Doctor Strangelove, it would have gotten a lot more reaction. It would have been a lot more, I wouldn't say popular, but it would have been more well known. But it came after Doctor Strangelove, and you're right. Slim Pickens in that movie, in the final scene, is on top of a nuclear device, a rocket that's falling down. And as he's going down with the rocket, he's going, "Yeehaw!
Yep.
Ride him, cow!" And then the rocket falls to Earth. The nuclear warhead blows up, and you see the destruction of cities and buildings all over the place being played to the World War II song "We'll Meet Again" by
Yeah.
Vera Lynn. Uh, Number seven. Anybody knows this one.
How many? How many do we have
It's
left?
uh, it's how many more? Seven, eight, nine, 10.
All right,
Yeah.
let's go through these quick.
All right. One morning, I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How I
I'll
got in
get
my
to my
pajamas, I
pajamas.
don't
I'll
know.
never know. So obviously it's a Groucho Marx film. The Marx
Yeah.
Brothers. Was that Duck Soup?
No.
Animal Crackers.
Animal Crackers, 1930.
Okay.
All right. Number eight. It's alive. It's alive.
Oh, that's Frankenstein. It also
1931.
31.
Yes. Okay. Um, oh, you'll love this one, Joe. Yes, I understand there are different varieties.
Oh, the other one was Young Frankenstein. It would depend, same thing.
They use that in Young Frankenstein too.
Right. And they
But
also
number
used
nine,
the original they also had the original set of Frankenstein and they used that as well.
yeah,
Mel Brooks was they had it most of it and they were able to piece it together
right,
and they used that. Okay, next.
right. Yes, I understand there are different varieties.
Oh, hold on one second. I just want to say, Michael Dell, you've been blocked off my Facebook page. So if you don't like it here, leave. Just go. Okay? You're a pain in the neck anyway. Anyway, I just had to say that. And
Oh,
you have a very wonderful yet limited four-letter word vocabulary, just so you know. Go ahead.
for the fourth time. Yes, I understand there are different varieties.
For the fourth time. Yes, I
Right,
understand that there are different varieties.
right.
Nope. Clueless.
Would it help you if I told you that this person was addressing Mrs. Bundy?
Say the line again.
Yes, I understand there are different varieties.
Oh, the birds. Then if you brought up Mrs.
The bird.
Bundy. In fact,
The Birds, yes.
yes,
1960.
where is dear Mrs. Bundy? Is she here?
Oh,
I got her here somewhere. Disappeared on me. Is that her?
I don't
Go
know.
on to the next question in the meantime while I find her.
The
Yep,
final question.
there she is. There's our Mrs. Bundy with that fabulous hat and in a man's suit. Go
Right.
on.
Number 10. If you were not a bride, I would kiss you. Goodbye.
You were not a bride, I would kiss
Not
you.
a bride, I would kiss you goodbye.
I would kiss you goodbye. Again, no clue. I need context.
And that was Ben-Hur, 1959.
Oh,
No, we have
uh,
not one, but two bonus questions.
okay, go
Bonus
on.
number one. Are you still looking for Mrs. Bundy?
No, I found her. I put her up on the screen.
Oh, oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see it. Bonus number one. Why don't you come up here and see me sometime?
Mae West, obviously.
Right.
The name of the movie, I don't remember.
She done him wrong, 1933.
Yes.
And one last one here. Bonus number two. Um, one final thing I have to do, and then I'll be free of the past.
I have one final thing to do, and I'll be free of the past.
One final thing I have to do, and then I'll be free
Free
of the
of the
past.
past.
I'm going to do my. I'm not sure if this is the person in the movie who said this line, but I'll do it anyway. Maybe it'll help you. One final thing I have to do,
Oh, Jimmy
and then
Stewart.
I'll be free of the past.
Jimmy
Yeah.
Stewart. I'll just guess it's Vertigo.
Vertigo, 1958.
Okay.
There you go.
There were a couple of
It's
movies.
alive.
It is. It's alive. All right. And speaking of being alive, I need to be alive early tomorrow morning for my ankle surgery. So that ought to be fun. So uh, time to wrap it up, folks. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. And we will see you on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, if I feel up to it and the system in Florida becomes an issue, maybe we'll jump on Saturday. I doubt I'm going to be in any shape to jump on tomorrow, but maybe on Saturday I'll feel up to it. So watch your notifications in case I do decide to uh, do a show. And Joe, I'll let you know if that's the case. Okay?
Let me know, but I may not be available because Saturday and Sunday is the Putnam Valley Spring Fest. Great German food, great German music, great beer. And if you're interested, come on down. Since I am married to one of the directors of the Spring Fest, I will gladly be a volunteer at the Spring Fest on Saturday and Sunday. So if you come on down, you'll have a chance to meet half a Joe, me.
That's right. All right. Enjoy yourself there. Everybody have a great night and a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Good night, everybody.
Goodbye. Bye.